Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at the Endurodrome with 3 more vehicles being driven till destruction. Starting today with the SBR4, the game's kind of all the base game's kind of supercar, really. I'm surprised I haven't run this around here before, but we're going to give it a try now. It is high-powered, all-wheel drive. It's not the fastest version of the car, no, but it's still got plenty of speed about it. Interesting things with it, of course, are suspension. Front suspension's fairly standard-ish. Rear's pushrod, which we haven't had, as far as I'm aware, run around this course yet. I don't know how its Earth is going to survive. We know leaf springs in general have survived very well. They're very, very difficult to kill, but you can kill them, and if they do go wrong, it tends to be pretty spectacular. In all of my driving of this car and taking it around destruction circuits and so on, I've never had the pushrod suspension fail at the back with twisted wheels, but I don't think we've ever had the suspension itself fail. This circuit is known for killing car's suspension. It's done a very good job of that, so maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe we will see what happens around here, although I don't know. The front is probably going to give out first. I think we're more likely to see the front give out normal suspension. And again, you know, this is still a sports and supercar. It is low to the ground. The suspension is stiff, and we're on a bumpy, horrible destruction circuit. So it is quite likely that we will see the front give out. The radiator is pretty well protected, if I remember correctly. Oh, that's not what I wanted, though. Bloody hell, that's a split ramp there for this car, apparently. Excuse me, SBR4, if you wouldn't mind, we will try and get you over. Oh, come on now, car. Come on. There we go. That's a nasty... That's the normal... I think that's the normal line to go through there to try and, well, not roll the car. But apparently this... Maybe it's, I mean, it's quick, but I'm going to be careful at that point. Rolling isn't the worst thing in the world, provided we don't clonk the radiator on the ground on the landing. You can actually get away with landing on the roof. I mean, we've damaged the windscreen, we've damaged the roof and so on. It's not going to stop the car from moving. The bigger concern is landing on our side is worse than landing on our roof, because you might catch a wheel, or bend more importantly, the steering you might bend. And we're going to just bounce around on our side. Yeah, the suspension's not going to like a lot of these sections. Suspension is not going to enjoy a lot of these sections, but I mean, it is what it is. This jump coming up here is always a sketchy one, especially with the bumps going before it in a car that doesn't really have the best of grips. You want to make sure we can get as straight across there as we can, which we have done, although we're getting chucked around no end on the... Can we actually sort the car out? Oh, in time for some speed bumps. We have spun... Thankfully, we kind of spun across... Oh... I was going to say thankfully we spun across the top of the speed bumps. We've done weird things to the rear wheel. Suspension wise, it still looks like it's okay in there. You can just see that, you can see the suspension working through the glass window, but we've got some camber going on with the rear right, and I thought I saw a wheel wobble from the left hand side, which is peculiar. It might be what's like taking a chunk out of the tyre. No, that looks okay. Never mind. Ignore me. It might just be the way it's vibrating across the road or something. You can kind of take chunks out of the tyre, take chunks out of the wheel as well, the way the damage model works in this game, and it won't stop the car from driving as such, but it might make things uncomfortable. And the issue we have now, of course, is we've still got a very quick car that every so often steers on its own because that rear wheel is now not pointing in the right direction, and if that just kind of drags you around or you're not quite anticipating it dragging you around, that's when we take a jump wonky and have a big roll. Hopefully we can keep it all together and we'll be all right. Our spoiler, we've got some very active aero now on the back of this. I mean, normally it's got active aero. Now we've got less useful but more active going on with... How is that wing even... I don't even know how the wing's still attached. Just sort of caught through the boot lid. That's going to flap free eventually. It's not going to make much difference around this sort of a course. Aero does make a big difference on cars in this game, but not around a destruction circuit. That much is for sure. Alright, okay, so the rock pit is very nasty. Oh, okay, we're going to roll... Typical, we survived the rock pit. I thought, yes, we're doing well. And then we fall over when we get to the next part. Not many cars have fallen over on that bit. The car's actually really quite heavy and quite awkward to get back onto its wheels, which is weird, but there we go. How are our wheels doing? Okay, still mostly just the damage to the rear left. That's the concerning area. Oh, it might be... Oh, stop going upside down! Bloody hell, car. We're going to try and grab you by your roof, get you over quickly. And there we go. Did that do some damage to the front? I thought I saw a bent wheel at the front. We kind of restyled it slightly. With the amount of landing on the roof, we're getting a new roof line with this car. I mean, it's doing well. It's surviving these crashes. The front wheels are surviving these crashes very well. We've still got a wing mirror attached. Bloody hell. The driver's side wing mirror is still okay. I mean, I say that for now. The other one's vibrating a lot, but for now we have a wing mirror working. We've still got a brake light working. I think we lost all the front end. No, we've still got one headlight as well. We've got one brake light, one headlight. The exhaust is somehow still attached, and a wing mirror are still all... I'm surprised that much of the car is still functioning, I shall be honest. There we go. We're across the jump nicely. Although it's like this bit here is actually really difficult. Oh! Oh! That bit there is very nasty to this car. It bounces. It's probably the most we've seen a car hate the tarmac. In some ways, I think it'd be better if we rolled on the jump, because we're hitting those speed bumps now with a lot more force just because the car's able to carry the speed. Ooh, what's that doing with its... That's... Ooh, something's unhappy there. Okay. Something's unhappy. I think we've tweaked the chassis. Or maybe... maybe we're... Oh, what is going on with this? It's like it's tripoding at the rear. It's like a front-wheel drive hot hatch. Only it's not. It shouldn't be doing that. What have I done to the front of the car? Have we collapsed? Ooh, have we got rid of all of the front suspension? Front right. I think we lost front right suspension entirely, which means that as the car's going around a corner, the wheels at the back are now lifting off the ground. Okay, well I did say the front was likely to be the concerning area with this car. Now, it's still got steering. The suspension loss hasn't taken out our steering. However, that is going to be potentially sketchy. I mean, for places like this, the big speed bumps, we actually got very nicely across there this time around. The bigger speed bumps, when we hit those, we may well see a lot of the force essentially going into the chassis at the front, braking tie rods, which will lose a steering, maybe even braking something more important. I was going to say engine, but of course the engine is at the back in this car, so that'll be okay. We might lose front drive shaft, but again, we will keep moving. The advantage of all-wheel drive, of course, if we lose a drive shaft, we're still okay. We can still keep going. I just don't really want I don't want to bend the chassis more than we've got it currently, because we might then start having issues with control and putting the power down. I don't know what the diffs are like in this for keeping the car moving. Does not like that rock pit at all. We will fly across there. I mean, it's doing well for a supercar. Yeah, let's face it, this is about the worst sort of terrain you can ask a car like this to have to deal with. So it is doing well to still be going as, you know, it's still got some good speed about it here. Oh, steering is considerably worse than it was this time last lap. Try to have a look, see if I can... Is that low? It's very difficult to tell actually what's gone, but the front, because the bits are still just about there. The front is definitely not happy on that right-hand side, but we're still going for now. We're still going for now. We're on our third lap. Radiator is still all okay. Radiator very tough in this car. These sort of vehicles will tend to see the radiator punctured quite early on. They'll keep going until they overheat, but radiator on this is putting up a very, very good fight. Probably shouldn't say too much. You know what the commentator is like, especially as we come up towards the big jump here. It is, once again, nicely done it across the big jump. Can I get the car? It bucks around so much across there. Oh, there goes a drive shaft. Surprisingly, quite a mundane... That was about as good as I could expect for bouncing across the speed bumps, but that took out a front drive shaft, so we are now a rear-wheel drive SBR4, which, again, typical, something I talked about on this lap. That's okay. We will be able to continue driving as a rear-wheel drive car. That front is really, really wonky. That front is really wonky. It does mean we've kind of used up one of our lives if we land awkwardly. And, well, I say the other drive shaft, which might be very difficult to take out the drive shaft, being... I guess it's technically rear engine, I would think, judging by the engine position and the axle. So it's not a long drive shaft. When you have a front engine rear-wheel drive car, that's a big long drive shaft for you to snap. Whereas when it is this sort of vehicle, that's a lot more difficult to snap the rear drive shaft, because if you snap the rear drive shaft, chances are you've probably broken the engine with it as well, so it doesn't really matter. Our steering has got a lot worse this time around though. Oh, that was a big crunch. So our front Our front right pull is poking out to the left. Our front left is... Oh, God. Fallen over. Basically, our front wheels are both pointing out, and that is making steering awkward, to say the least. We've rolled over once again. Can we... Oh, dear. Okay, we are going to get going again, but I think that is well, an alarming development is the diff is going to have problems. The diff is going to have problems getting this car going. Have we lost some suspension travel in the rear right? It looks lopsided. It's very... when you're trying to, like, judge damage on these, sometimes it's very difficult to tell whether it's just the way the body's being bent on the car or whether the entire vehicle is actually lopsided. It does look, to me, like the right-hand side of the car is currently running lower. I mean, it's not actually stopping us going. The car's in pretty bad condition, but it's not really stopping going around the circuit, and it's the first time we're across the rocks without too much trouble. I fear, with our now lack of steering and our lack of suspension movement, something's going to hit hard on this car across these jumps. I think a lot of the suspension is now stopping giving us any sort of shock absorption. Is going to start going through important bits in the chassis. It's going to start breaking bits. Yeah, that rear right doesn't look quite as it should. Oh, we're going to fall over again. But honestly, the falling over is probably better for the car than a bunch of other things, because at least then all the energy is going into rolling it rather than into breaking the damn thing. I'm going to have to put the bloody strength nose up on this. I'm surprised. I should put it up before I started. But no, this is apparently a very difficult car to roll. I'm used to, like, the trucks and so on having difficulties rolling back over, but no, this is apparently just as difficult. Well, yeah, actually, in some ways, it needs almost as much strength to get the damn thing back onto its wheels again. There are bad things going on with the front of the car here. There are bad things going on with the front of our car. The wheels are... all the suspension's gone on the front. One big hit on it. Oh, we might not clear this as nicely as I'd want. Uh-oh. Trees. You know, in some ways it's better than some of the possible outcomes we could have done there. It's at least a low-speed bump into the trees. So yeah, we are now struggling to get speeds to clear that jump as nicely as we have done. Oh. Ooh, I thought that was going to crunch that. I thought that front right was in trouble, more trouble than it currently is across the speed bump. We got away with it. I mean, it's very poorly, this car, but it isn't giving up. It is not giving up around this circuit. We've still got full complement of steering and everything. Towards the... Oh, yeah, the brake's pretty sharpish there. Towards the chicane, we've still got more than enough steering to make it through here. That wheel... front left's bad. The front left's very bad. It leans over on itself as you turn. I think we've done some real damage to that suspension now. The front... it's weird saying this, having been the right-hand side of the car that's taken the worst of the punishment here. The right-hand side is now looking healthier. The right-hand side is looking much healthier as we head towards yet another chicane. We've still got enough steering to get through, but it is only just... oh... Has that broken something important? I don't know. We're going to be stuck on our roof again. Come on, fall back over. I think the driver's seat is now poking through the roof. That, again, would be a concern if you were actually in the car. Thankfully, in the way for this series, the seat going through the roof... no, it's the passenger seat, sorry, through the roof. Yeah, would be a concern if you're in the car, but isn't stopping us from driving and keeping on going. 8 miles. I mean, this is... It spent a lot of time upside down, and it is in a very bad way. It's still going. It still refuses to give up around the Endurodrome. I'd be amazed if it could go chase down the Miramar. I'd be amazed if it could chase down some of the, well, like the Hopper, the Blackfoot, or whatever. The things that are more designed for off-roading. How the Blackfoot limped its way around on 3 wheels for a very large number of laps. I'd be amazed if this could do it, but... It's not giving up. There have been cars that it's been a case of difficult to tell what's going to kill them because they've looked strong. This, I know what's going to kill it. We're going to lose steering. Eventually, something's going to fall off and we're not going to be able to steer. But the fact that it's taken this long to have something snap beyond use is impressive. Look at that. Everything at the front is hanging by a thread. but nothing around this course, amazingly, has done enough to destroy it. Oh, that might have done the damage. That has done the damage to one of the wheels. I saw the snap, and yeah, that's trouble when that one happens. Come on then, over we go, car. We have definitely lost one wheel. Can we? Oh, we might be in trouble here. Now, I am allowed to grab reverse if it is from a rollover if we're trying to recover the car. I don't know why we're not steering here. Can I get... I can't even seem to drive and handbrake turn it. Car? Can we... There we go. Let's get some steering. Let's get you back pointing the right direction from following the roll. So, the front is entirely locked up. That front left is entirely locked up, and I feel like that's giving us grief into it. I don't think I can steer this. Even if we get it pointing back the right way, following that roll, it doesn't see... I'm not sure why it's having such trouble. Oh, well, I mean, that's going to give us problems. Maybe all the suspension damage is stopping the wheel, the one good steering wheel, from really touching the floor here. That has had a lot of chances to manage to point the right way. It looks like we're just going to crab. That's surprising. It's not normally how we see the... not normally how I saw the steering failure going. If we've got one wheel working, we can normally get some steering out of it, but that's gone. I cannot get enough grip to turn the car at all. It won't... I'll have one more try. Oh, I'm stuck here as well. I think the chassis is twisted, the diff's not letting any power go, that wheel's not really touching the ground well enough to turn. I think it is safe to say this car has had it. The SBR4 has had it. Oh, we've almost got some turning going on with that, but it's not going to be enough. It's done. The SBR4 is done. It survived incredibly well for a car of this sort. The bouncing across these bumps is always going to be painful for it. It's going to spend a lot of time upside down and pinging around, and eventually one of the rolls got the better of the front of the car. Yep, we lost steering. Oh, we kept both headlights actually. That one's cracked a bit, but we kept both of them amazingly. Very, very good performance from the vehicle. Up next, we are sticking with the rear engine theme, although quite a different vehicle. The Manic is going to have a run around this course. It is very small, very brown, rear-wheel drive. It is air-cooled, I believe, so overheating shouldn't get it. There is other potential problems. For example, the engine can fall out. It's, I think, unlikely for that to be the cause of failure in this, but it is possible to have the engine fall out of this car, so it's just always good fun. The suspension is a touch of a concern, just judging how much of it compressed going across that jump. There we have it. It's another car that's probably going to spend a lot of time upside down. It's quite top-heavy and quite, well, it's quite tall and quite narrow, and that's not great, because that falls over quite a lot. Around this sort of course, it's likely to fall over. Oh, we're going to bounce and bobble about horribly. Are we okay, car? Yeah, we're going to be fine. We're going to... For a second, I thought I was diving through the... Whoa! I've got the tuned version of the car. I thought it'd be fun to have a little bit more speed around here. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not amazingly fast. It's not slow, though. It is certainly not slow at all around here, so... Yeah, stream version, I don't know if it's got... It doesn't look like it's got that sporty suspension. There's still a lot of give going on in the suspension. Whoa! It stopped it from falling over, at least, which is something. Can we get through the rock pit nicely? Better than the SBR4. More on two wheels. This is an impressive little two wheels display we have going on from this. Uh-oh. That's the sort of landing that I do worry about in this car. It has twisted itself. It's done a lovely little dance. I've got to be careful, because you're probably going to be very light, and I'm going to have this still on the setting for stubborn SBR4, basically. We've done bodywork damage. It probably will look quite spectacular on this. If the car lives long enough to have a few rollovers, it'll probably be quite spectacular what it ends up looking like. I would fear that a few rollovers... Something's going to be vicious enough to break the engine, maybe even break the engine free from the car. I kind of want that to be how this vehicle goes out. I'll be disappointed if it goes out from, suspension failure. It's likely to, but it would be fun to just have the engine fling itself clear of the car as we run around here. It's not going to be worse, that's for sure, as we head on towards the back jump for the first time. We should be quick enough to make it up here nicely, although our steering is a little twisted. That was actually a very, very nice landing. The camera does have some issues with this car, it seems. Oh, Okay, no, never mind. Things pinged off the front, but that was just body work. We're going to have some more tripoding. Nothing really wants to stay on all of their wheels, apparently, in this episode so far. More tripoding? Yeah, that's fine. We can we can do that. Right, up towards... Oh, that's a big hit at the front. Up towards the final chicane. Oh, I'm not steering as well as I once... Or maybe I was just doing a wheelie and I didn't have the front wheels on the ground, because now it seems okay. Yeah, that's something to have to worry about. Oh, are we losing the boot? Possibly. Well, I mean, around the first lap has been fairly solid. As far as small cars go, they've not enjoyed this track whatsoever. The little hatchbacks and so on have not had a fun time around here whatsoever. Oh, that clipped barrier. We got away with just a tyre, though. Tyre going down? Or a tyre with a massive cut on it. That's fine. I mean, it makes it a tiny bit more difficult to drive, but it's not going to stop it from moving. I was worried it might pluck the wheel off. Can happen on barriers. Unlikely. We don't see it all that often, but we don't see that often around here. Other sort of barriers you can do it on. There's not too many sticky barriers to catch tyres, but yeah, that would be bad, or just bending the wheel at a funny angle, putting power down very difficult. Engine is kind of running... I mean, it's an air-cooled car. Doesn't mean I can't overheat it by just driving it hard around here. Engine is running a bit warm, which, you know, small concern. Because we've got to run the cars hard. Oh, don't lose that engine. Okay, I think a lot of the roof cushioned the blow there. Of course, the rules with this are... Oh, whoopsie. The rules for this are the cars have to be driven as hard as they can. As hard as they can be around here. Otherwise, you know, you could just limp your way around and nothing would ever take any damage. So, yeah, these cars... we haven't ever seen anything overheat just from sheer driving in this series. I have seen it at some other circuits when we're in the desert, trying to cross some sand dunes. We've had cars overheat just from being overworked climbing around. Here you kind of get a little bit of a break from that sort of thing, because you're inevitably going to roll or get stuck somewhere or bounce around. So, yeah, you will. They do often get breaks. Oh, we're going to fall over again. The camber and so on the wheels is starting to look bad for the back of this car. We've got a lot of camber on that left-hand side. The right-hand side looks decidedly wobbly, like it might fall off. So that's not great. The front wheel, this is one of the very rare occasions where the front wheels are actually doing better than the rear of the car. Normally, of course, you tend to land jumps with the front of the vehicle going into the ground first. That tends to take the brunt of the impact, and that tends to be why front-wheel drive cars have issues here. But this does seem to have a lot more damage done to the rear of it. I'm really struggling to get control of this. Oh, this isn't good. Just gonna go. This is the how many times can a car fall over in a couple of laps? Oh, you got to ping yourself back onto your wheels. Well done, little car. It does not look happy anymore. The boots bent in half and all the wrong way. The roof line's funny. The rear window bit is, I mean, squished. The temperature is creeping up. Wheels don't really want to touch the ground most of the time, and have we got? Maybe it's just a very soft suspension at the front. It's really diving badly under. Look at that! Well, I don't know whether it's front, whether it's chassis, or what's causing that, because let's face it, the car's in a pretty bad way. We'll just clonk our way across the speed bumps. But the engine's still in the car, and hell, we've made it onto another lap, which a lot of vehicles haven't done. Again, it's another one that's keeping going despite looking in a terrible, terrible way. And nothing majorly is broken with it, but visually it looks... We've had cars go out that have looked in better condition than this. So, yeah, I am still worried about the engine, of course. I feel like one big hit can take that out if we are unlucky, and especially with this tendency to fall over. It's so violently rolling. Although that is at least a low-speed violent roll. We're going to need to hook you back over. There we go. Nicely does it. Okay, back to more punishments we head with this. Big jump is probably where we're going to see the worst of it. Although I think the speed bumps themselves, this is so light that the speed bumps are a pretty big threat to the car. The speed bumps doing something mean, launching it. Well, speed bumps will roll it very, very easily. Let's just go around the outside of these ones. Don't really want to fight them unnecessarily. Front wheel's still looking pretty good, actually. The car is pulling, although I'm not sure whether that is down to the angle the rear wheels are at more than the front. The fronts don't actually look all all that bent, so that's something at least. I will also say I've got no game sound apparently going on with this car, so if I left it in a gear by accident, that's my bad. It tumbles, but nothing gets broken again. We have taken a chunk out of a front wheel, by the looks of it, about the actual wheel itself. I can't imagine it's very comfortable in here with the vibrations going on in this car now. None of the wheels are really circular anymore. The suspension doesn't look all that great, and I mean it's fallen over a lot. That's the main reason why it'd probably be uncomfortable. Oh, going vaguely a straight line. Just find a way through the shed. And then we're onto a bumpy straight once more. But yeah, actual stopping it is uncomfortable, but stopping it moving, nothing's really doing that. Although that. Such a lazy roll. It's luckily that it's kind of losing all of its speed before it's starting falling over. When we're falling over at 20 miles an hour, that's not enough to really do any serious damage. You hit it enough times and you'll probably bend a wheel and stop the steering work, but most of these, it's just pinging around quite freely. Temperature is creeping up again as we work the car quite hard around this circuit. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to go for another big roll. That's a clonk on the door. Still, are we going to be okay? Yep. Grab a reverse. We lost the door. More bodywork in there. Whoa! Big wheelies! Oh, there's not... those wheels are wobbly as anything. The wheelies are impressive. How is... This has been a spectacular falling over performance from the car. I kind of just want to do another big wheelie. How is this still able to wheelie? I mean, look at the state of it! And yet it can still wheelie its way forward. I mean, it does take a little bit of reverse and encouragement, but it can still wheelie. I don't know whether that's because it's... Oh, that chassis is at a very unpleasant angle. That chassis is at a very, very unpleasant angle for the car. It's almost full-on bananaed. Come on, limp your way through that. Oh, I'm amazed the engine's still in the car. I said if it lived long enough, we would seriously restyle this vehicle. And we have done. We've made it look quite different. It now falls over going around corners. It's almost a jelly car we've got going on with the suspension damage. That's... none of the wheels point the same way, I don't think. None of the wheels are circle. They don't point the same way. The engine is creeping out below the rear bumper as the bodywork gets so bent around here. The air-cooled car is actually overheating from being driven hard around this circuit. Oh, the engine looks like it's going to come out the wheel arch at this rate. The whole back of the car is twisted. It's putting on a show, and at the end of the day, that is what you want to see. At the end of the day, a show is what you want to see from a car being driven around the Endurodrome, and we're getting that with this. Cannot believe it is still alive here. We've had two cars that really been determined this episode to just keep going. They have not wanted to give up around this track. And yeah, this is another impressive performance. Can we go further than the SBR4? That is the question here. Oh, it does nicely across the rocks. Didn't actually affect the vehicle all that much. I fear for the engine overheating wise, that's probably not going to be all that far away. Oh, another big roll. The engine might get a little bit of a cool down. Ooh, something funky's going on with that wheel and tyre. I mean, that's not healthy. Oh, what is going on with the roof as well? Yeah, it's not a happy car anymore. Not happy. It hasn't been a happy car for a couple of laps now, let's be honest. Still got a full accompaniment of steering. Steering still works, even if it's spiking the wheel around. Thankfully, that's not really affecting our driving ability all that much. Okay, down that bumpy straight we head once more. A little bit more suspension travel in this, a little bit more forgiving in this than we've had in the sports cars. Although, all it takes is one bit and then we're off and over again. Oil's overheating. Car, you going to come back down? Nope, I'm going to have to pull you get out of a sand trap. There we go. I don't know how long this engine's going to overheat. I'm used to dealing with the normal cars and how when their radiator goes, that sort of overheating. Never would have pegged this car as survive until the engine gave up. Never. Engine fall out, absolutely, but never would have pegged it for this. The chassis is so buckled. I'm now crabbing my way down the straight. We're still good for 60 miles an hour as the head gasket goes. Let's go up towards the jump. We clonk on the back of the car a few more times. We're going to end up in a bush. We are actually quite stuck in there now. That's not good for the car. Can we get you free of the tree? We can. Sometimes they get very wedged in there, which is not good. Oh, engine. I think the engine might have gave up while it was stuck in a tree. Can I turn you back on? I think that engine has expired, sadly. Yeah, engine has locked up. Oh, I tried to pull it out of the tree, but in the end, that would be it. That is a very, very impressive performance from the little car. I mean, it fell over so many times. None of the wheels are circular. None of the rims themselves have taken a battering. Apart from the front left's mostly okay. That one's all completely buggered. We managed to overheat the air-cooled engine. I'm very surprised by that, but there we go. That gave up. I am amazed the car held together for the number of rolls. I think helped by the fact they were all low-speed rolls. If they'd been much faster than that, we might have seen a lot more damage, but they were low enough speed rolls that the car could keep going. So, there we have it. There we have it. Two surprisingly resilient cars. So, on to our leaderboard, and we have a new car in the top 10. The SBR4 will go into 6th place, which, as I said, is very, very good going for the vehicle. Lap number 5, it would die on, beats out the D-Series Quad Cab, the Miram RZ Coupe, the Tuima Drift Car. Can't quite beat the Regency and its Haunted Caravan, but still, surviving to lap 5 is good going, eventually steering getting the better of it. The Manic can't quite get into the top 10, but it does go into 13th place again. Two long-lasting cars. It beats the Montgomery. Doesn't quite beat the A86 or the Barstow. The amount that car fell over, I'm amazed it survived that long. I really, really am. But there we go. It certainly put on a very good show. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description, so you can download them and have a go with them yourself. But that'll be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.